affair. But the denazification element is really important because that is completely omitted from the Western narrative, and it has been for a long time. The West always back radicals. They back radicals in the Middle East. They backed radicals in Ukraine, unfortunately, from World War II to the present. And this is a very complex political analysis that no one will ever undertake in the mainstream media, nor will they ever mention it. No politician will ever mention it as well. And the United States knew exactly where the fault lines were, and they aggravated those time and time again in order to manipulate the political situation in Ukraine. And most notably, when Victoria Nuland and her team were over there during the Obama administration, this is when it really inflamed, and they really went for the kill, as it were, in terms of backing a violent coup in 2014. And at that point, Ukraine ceased to be a liberal democracy, because a liberal democracy means that you can have people from different ethnic groups and they have equal representation under the law. So at that point, you could argue that, from the 2014 Maidan coup, backed by the United States and the EU as well, and NATO member states, then Ukraine becomes a failed state at that point. When you deploy the military basically to attempt to ethnically cleanse or to put down a rebellion based on race or ethnic origin at that point, and then you lose control of parts of your country for similar reasons politically, like in the Crimea, you're a failed state technically at that point. And it's only a matter of time before you continue to come apart at the seams domestically, or your neighbors will help in that process as well. This is not exclusive to Ukraine and Russia in this sense. This is really all over the world throughout history. Or at least the history of the post-Westphalian nation state era. So I don't see this as a surprise, but there's no context. The background, the coup, none of it. And the fact that the Minsk Accords were completely sabotaged for 7-8 years is never mentioned. No context, no background, no history, nothing. All you get is, this is Vladimir Putin and he's the next Hitler, and this is the Sudetenland. That's all you get right now in the Western media and by politicians. And it's just incredibly arrogant and incredibly manipulative, and I would say really shameful, the treatment this is getting, especially from Western politicians who are grandstanding right now, pointing the finger, wagging the finger, and the media that will not allow any context.
Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, and double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, Bashem Rakak Wadash. My name is Yakalba from Plaintables Camp in Philly. This is my favorite scriptures here, Ezekiel 33 and 33, well, 33, 32. And lo, thou art unto them as a very lovely song of one that hath a pleasant voice and can play well on an instrument, for they hear thy words, but they will not do them. It is a prophecy against our people. We tell you that the time of trouble is going to come, and you better use all the the information that we're giving you to put yourself in the best situation. But the men of our nation are hard-headed. The women of our nation are hard-headed. All right, and they're going to pay the price, because we giving you the information, we give you all the techniques and the things you can do to put yourself in the best position, but they ain't going to listen. All right, you can tell them that you got spiritual power, you can create food out of thin air, and you can fly. All you got to do is believe. And then they're going to say, they're going to look at you like you're crazy. All right. And lo, when this cometh to pass, lo, it will come, then shall they know that a prophet hath been among them. All right. So the majority of our people, you just got to forget about them. All right. Now, I went to the RT site. I don't know, it's acting crazy. I'm putting RT in, and it's acting stupid. I don't know if this is, I keep saying that. Checking your browser, but then I can go to the app. The app is still working, but they shutting Russia out of a lot of shit. So they closing down on them, because the Western countries own the most of the infrastructure for the internet, and They on the electronic banking systems. That's how we know that the Rothschilds, the Edomites are controlling the West. They control the world. All right, because the Chinese and the Russians don't control those things. The European powers in America control them. All right. So Revelation 13:16. Again, there's a badge of servitude, charagma. All right, that's the ultimate goal to these nations. They're going to implement this system to track and identify the individual person. Right, they're going to put a microchip in your arm, your hand. All right, that's going to be the new medium of exchange. You'll be able to have your information on there, who you are, and your finances on there. All right. Those are some of the applications that it could have. All right, but it's definitely going to have the finance on there. All right, your money. Money can be exchanged for goods and services. All right. And I got a crosstalk. All right. No, I remember Peter saying, that's the host, that they're not going to go in on his last crosstalk because of this situation. I believe he's talking about Donbass, if I'm saying that right. All right. But something happened. All right. You can go look at the previous crosstalk. I believe he said that. He said because of a certain situation, they weren't going to invade. All right. So I don't think he talks about it in this. Now, again, he doesn't work, with intelligence. So they're not going to tell him.
Discuss these issues and more. I'm joined by my guest, Patrick Henningsen in Plymouth. He's the editor and founder of 21stCenturyWire.com, found on YouTube and okay, let's go to Patrick first here. Patrick, let's look at the reasons why Putin decided on this special military operation in Ukraine. The two issues that he focused most on, only on actually, is demilitarization and denazification. Now, the first one seems quite obvious. The Russians don't want to have offensive weaponry with the backing of NATO pointed at Russia, but also discuss this denazification because I have seen no talk about it in Western media. First demilitarization, then denazification. Go ahead, Patrick.
Sure. And we can't leave out also the humanitarian aspect of it and securing Donetsk and Lugansk, which they've recognized. But to the point of demilitarization.
It's called Donetsk. I believe that's what it's called, Donetsk.
You have to look at this and frame it properly. This is a proxy war. This is Russia versus NATO. And NATO states are using Ukraine as a proxy. They're pumping weapons in. We've seen this before. I personally witnessed this in Syria myself on the ground, so I know exactly what happens when that takes place. So it's a proxy war, and the weapon shipments are being amped up right now. Germany is also going to be sending lethal aid. There's other countries as well, that Australia, I believe, as well. So, I mean, we know how that's going to end up over time if this is a protracted affair. But the denazification element is really important because that is completely omitted from the Western narrative, and it has been for a long time. The West always back radicals. They back radicals in the Middle East. They backed radicals in Ukraine, unfortunately, from World War II to the present. And this is a very complex political analysis that no one will ever undertake in the mainstream media, nor will they ever mention it. No politician will ever mention it as well. And the United States knew exactly where the fault lines were, and they aggravated those time and time again in order to manipulate the political situation in Ukraine, and most notably when Victoria Nuland and her team were over there during the Obama administration. This is when it really inflamed, and they really went for the kill, as it were, in terms of backing a violent coup in 2014. And at that point,
because the U.S. backed the original Ukrainian leader that was probably pro-Russian. All right, now they have a pro-U.S. NATO guy in there, Zelensky, all right, and the Nazification. You know, they a lot of well, Edomites. Well, not a lot. Every Edomite is a racist. All right, so yes, in the Ukraine, you have that element apparently that I never even heard of. You know, because mainstream media here. So and I don't think I've heard RT or haven't seen them talk about the Nazi element in there. Now I did see a clip of you had some colored people. I don't know if they were West African or African. Or if they were American, I don't know, or British, they wouldn't allow her on the train. But they were letting the Edomites on the train. All right, I don't know where they were, what city they were in, but that it makes sense. Remember, just because they're coming from the U.S. does not mean they're righteous, pious, and good. They try to frame the West as being good and Russia and China as being these evil organizations, which they all, have their, say, racist elements within them. All right, but America is no better, and you start seeing little clips like that of them. They've been going around the not allowing the I believe it was a color. I don't know what nation she was from. I couldn't really see her. But that just proves that this Nazi thing has truth to it. All right, now link will be in the description box. All right, this is Luke 16:26. So all these Edomites, whether they're Russians or they Ukrainians, which they're Russians too. I don't know why it's political, I guess. They split them apart. All right. And besides all this, between us and you, there is a great gulf fixed. This is between Israel and Esau. All right. Whether they identify as Ukrainian or identify as Russian. All right. So they which could pass from hence to you cannot, neither can they pass to us that will come from thence. All right. So no Edomite can be saved. All right. And it's impossible for any Israelite to become an Edomite. All right. We have two different designations. When the kingdom comes, all of Israel is going to be in the kingdom, perfect, and the Edomites are going to be in servitude. All right. So we can't change places. All right. Once we ascend up into our rightful throne as Israelites, all right, we're not going to descend back down, nor will any Edomite join any Israelite in that rulership. Then he said, I pray thee, therefore, Father, that thou wouldest send him to my father's house. All right. For I have 5 brethren, that he may testify unto them, lest they also come into this place of torment. All right. And that's somewhat servant slavery. All right. Abraham saith unto him, they have Moses and the prophets, let them hear them. And he said, Nay, Father Abraham, but if one went unto them from the dead, they will repent. And he said unto him, if they hear not Moses and the prophets, neither will they be persuaded, though one rose from the dead. All right. So that's a proverb, in by itself, that Esau damn sure ain't gonna believe. 2/3 of Israel, they're not gonna believe, because 2/3 of Israel has a spirit blocking them from understanding. All right. This is Matthew 24:36. All right. But of the day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. The day when the Lord returns under the orders of Yahweh to destroy all the Edomites, Ukrainian Edomites, Russian Edomites, American, British, French, German Edomites, Moab, Ishmael, when he comes back to destroy them and secure his elect. All right, that's the hour that Yahweh Shai, or the angels don't know, but Yahweh only. But as the days of Noah, or Noe, that's Noah, were were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Son of Man shall outshine, for as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark. All right, so it was business as usual. All right, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Because we give you the information to secure yourself, but they're not listening. We giving you different scriptures in history, prophecy. All right, you say, okay, do this, so you'll get this result. Secure yourself in this area, and you'll be better off. You'll put yourself in a better position if you do this. But they ain't listening. All right, now we got a new war breaking out. All right, and we still got the vampire shot. You still got legislation going through with that. It's voluntary, but it's really not voluntary because it's really mandatory, but you can get an exemption. All right. Then because if it was voluntary, they wouldn't ask for paperwork so you won't have to get it. So it is mandatory. All right. Then shall two be in the field, because Esau likes to play his little word games, you know. Then shall two be in the field, and one shall be taken at the left. 2 women shall be grinding in the mill, the one shall be taken and the other left. All right. Watch therefore, for ye know not what hour your Lord cometh. All right. But know this, that the goodman of the house had known in what watch the thief would come, he would have watched and would not have suffered his house to be broken up. Therefore be ye also ready, for in such an hour as ye think not, the Son of Man cometh. All right. So I'm gonna leave that right there. All right. So Yahushua is on his way, and he has us, his faithful prophets, that are continually warning you that these things are going to come to pass, and it's going to progressively get worse and worse. There might be a point where it goes down, then it's going to come up with something else. Either going to be reignited, or another calamity is going to happen. Another war is going to break out in a different area. All right, so I'll leave that there. Hope you edified. Shalom to the next lesson.